There is synthesizer in places where it's not even needed.
Yes, there's a lot of Brett Tuggle on this album.
Yep.
He had joined them for the Eat 'em and Smile tour.
Right.
So he was full on a member of the band.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as full on a member of a band you can be when the band is called David Lee Roth.
Right.
But yeah, he is definitely utilized on this album. He co-writes a few songs.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
On the album.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of his keyboards on this are great.
Yeah.
They're perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And others of them, I think it's fair to say that some of these songs have not aged well because they're very 80s synthesizers.
Oh, sure. Now, here's the big question. Here's my question. I want to pose this to you. Okay, so Eat 'em and Smile comes out. It does very well. It probably didn't do as well as 5150.
No, it did not.
And 5150 had more hit singles. And do you think that Roth went into a more keyboard direction because Van Halen did and had success with it?
I've always wondered that. Why, for a guy who fought the whole keyboard thing and then he embraced it, I don't know if it was necessarily because, Van Halen's doing it, I'm going to do it too. I think it was more of, hey, this is the direction I want to go in now. It just happens to involve keyboards, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that in 1988,
right,
both Dave and Van Halen were going in a much more keyboard-oriented direction.
Right.
I mean, both of their albums were heavy on the keyboard.
The lightest they've ever been. Everybody is at their fluffiest.
That's right. So if you're an old-school Van Halen fan, you're very frustrated at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is the landscape of the music industry was all heavy rock in 1988. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was plenty of pop in 88, but let's be honest, this was the onslaught of all the hair bands. In 88, it was all, I mean, I want to say heavy, but heavier than this. It was rock, rock. I mean, that's what was out there. That's what was selling don't get me wrong, it had a pop edge to it, but it wasn't like keyboardy rock. It was rock. I mean, it was heavy. I won't say it was heavy metal. It was hair metal. Right, hair metal
is what it was.
Yeah.
And Roth still had elements of that.
Right, sure he did. Yeah,
but he was definitely. I mean, I think he was looking for a hit. He was looking for hits. I think.
Yeah, well, he got it. I mean, he got his biggest single. Actually, I shouldn't say his biggest charting single because his biggest charting single technically is California Girls, which went to number 3. But Just Like Paradise, and we'll get into that, went to, I believe, number 6, if I have it correct. Yeah. Right.
It did. But after his EP, he would have a hit single, but he couldn't do anything after that. He always struggled with the second single.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get into that. Like I said, Roth is also very playful and fluffy with the lyrics this time out more than he usually is. He was a little lighter in that department. Like I said, Steve Vai has some real tasty licks here. He has solos that really make the album shine. The album went double platinum, and it scored Roth as the biggest original hit, I should say, of his career, which was Just Like Paradise. He had his biggest tour with his boxing ring and his flying surfboard and all that stuff. He was featured on the cover, climbing the Half Dome at Yosemite Valley in California. That was shot by Galen Rowell. He was the photographer, and Dave almost nearly killed himself getting that shot.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
right. There's an article out there that says Dave was not comfortable with how they were doing it. He was very scared, and they couldn't take the pictures fast enough for him to be done.
Oh, and I tell you though, he didn't let that show because clips from that shoot were in Just Like Paradise, and he looked cool as a cuke and all that. But apparently, he was frightened out of his mind.
Right,
but you gotta give him credit. So let's get into the album. It starts off with Knuckle Bones, which is a heavier hitting song, and I love this song. I think it's a strong rock track, but the production doesn't have the grit to it that it needed. This is sort of a dark and dirty tune, but it has sort of clean-cut vocals, you know what I mean? It could stand to have a little more edge. Roth wrote this with the Bissonette brothers, believe it or not, both Matt and Greg, and Vai's licks are hot as hell here, and they really sound really crisp, and there's lots of extra background vocals. And what do you think of this one, Dave?
Yeah, definitely background vocals. There's a lot more background vocals on the whole on this album. Knucklebone's great opener.
Yeah.
Shortest song on the album, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
A rare co-writing credit by the Bissonette brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But starts off the album real good, really solid, and good track opener. No complaints there.
Right. Dave, for the most part, wrote this album with Steve, with the exception of Knucklebones, with the Bissonette brothers, and then he wrote the 2 singles with Brett Tuggle, so which is Just Like Paradise and Stand Up. So,
right. Well, I think he also wrote another one, Perfect Timing. He wrote that with Brett Tuggle.
Did he read? Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's right. So now, next song, Just Like Paradise, was the big lead single. Now, this came out, you remember this, Dave, this was a big video, big single, hot song. So he came flying out the gate. Dave really launched huge in early 88 with this. I remember I was excited out of my mind. Now, Dave looked different, okay? He had like a bleach blonde hair. Look, Jesus, it was almost white. You know, obviously his hair is starting to recede, so he's wearing like headbands and all kinds of little things to hide his receding hairline. And obviously there had to be some little, nips and tucks in there probably. Like I said, David's biggest original hit single, not counting California Girls, on the Billboard charts, hit number 6. This screams 80s, this song. Interestingly enough, one of the fun facts of this was it was originally considered to be the theme song for Beverly Hills 90210, but Roth's people turned it down without Roth even knowing. His management nixed it, which was a huge mistake because that show not only went 10 seasons, but it was in reruns forever. So my God, the millions of dollars that were flushed down the toilet with that. Not to mention, what would that have done for Dave's career had that whole generation of 90s kids heard that song and maybe got into Roth? I don't even know. But you just never know. What did you think about that, Dave, that whole Beverly Hills 90210 situation?
That, lost opportunity for sure. And it is a very 80s song. But I tell you, that is one of the perfect pop songs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is right up there with Jump.
Yeah.
I mean, Roth, nailed it with
Yeah.
that one. It's sunshiny California.
Yep.
It's got the background vocals all over the place. Vai's solo in there is perfect. I mean, just like a great pop song.
Yeah.
And I always laugh when Vai complains about it and, he didn't like it and this, that, and the other thing.
He didn't like it because he didn't write it.
Well, that could be the part of the story he doesn't tell. It's just a great song. I mean, I love it every time I hear it.
Yeah, it's great.
You can't take that away from Dave
not at all. Not at
all.
all.
Highlight of the album,
yeah,
I think.
Absolutely. And it like you said, it really is a partner to Jump. It's got that same vibe to it in the sense that it's like, turn up the radio, crank this out. This is like the big song. And on top of that, I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, when I first saw the video, and the video is very cool. It's clips of them performing on stage and then clips of Dave climbing the mountain and stuff. One thing I thought was wild was when you saw Dave, you saw a whole new Hollywood Dave. I mean, he was done up in genie pants and he had the headband and gloves and it was just like a whole definitely a shinier, polished Dave, that's for sure. You can't hear Billy Sheehan on it, and Billy Sheehan's not even in the video. I mean, I don't even know at what point did he leave the album. He's on every track, but like you said, there's a lot of synth bass, and especially on this one for sure. There's synth bass.
Yeah, on this one it's tough to. I mean, he's on it, but it's like almost any bass player could be doing what he's doing.
Absolutely. Very candy-coated. Interesting enough is Vai sounds killer here. He has a sweet solo that has some teeth to it, which is interesting. It's a little lyrically fluffy, but it's just, typical pop.
Supposed to be fluffy.
Yeah, I know. The next tune here, the bottom line, I should say, is more old-school Roth, but it doesn't get quite dirty enough. The groove is there, and Vai definitely makes it swing. He has his gorgeous guitar harmonies, the crazy bass lines by Billy, but they're not enough. There's just a hint of them. This is sort of an old-school David Lee Roth band. This is the closest you get, really, to Eat 'em and Smile, I think.
Yes,
right.
I agree.
It's got that hot for teacher boogie shuffle thing going on, and if you listen to this again, it's like, oh, there's the old band, and you hear it, and it's just for like that song, and then it goes on to the next. But what do you make of Bottom Line? Are you a fan of it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, and I agree with your assessment completely that this is the song that sounds the most like Eat 'em and Smile material.
Definitely.
And I just love the way that you go from Just Like Paradise and you go right into the bottom line.
Right. Big contrast.
Yeah, definitely a big contrast, but it works.
Yeah.
And Billy gets his all too brief solo.
Yeah.
And it just makes you beg for more of this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it comes and goes way too quick.
That's true.
But to me, it's a highlight of the album.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
It's a great song. Now, we got another left turn here, another switch in vibe with Skyscraper. Now, this is the title track of the album. This is sort of a wild audio collage of some very colorful sounds here. Lots of production here, and it's very cool. It's very aerodynamic. I have no idea what he's talking about on the song, but Vai... Vai comes flying in after 2 minutes with this unbelievable solo. Again, he really leaves himself some nice pockets on this album. Again, not a lot for Billy to do. There's some strong drumming from Greg, but I always felt like the drums weren't thick enough on this album. I don't know what it is. The whole time I felt like it needed thicker, wider drum sound. This is sort of an art piece. It almost feels, I don't know, like you're going on a ride or something at Disney World. It's very cool, though. It's very neat. It could, you know what? This could have used a great video. It wasn't a single, though, but the clip could have been used in a nice video. But part of this song, and not any vocal part, but a instrumental piece, was used in a Miami Vice episode called Missing Hours, which is sort of a little fun fact about this song. I know you love this song, Dave, right?
Yes, it's like his artiste piece on this album.
Oh, yeah.
It's like his art, right? It's his artsy-fartsy song.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Yes song.
Yes, you're right. Very much so. Yeah.
Like I can't, like kind of, sort of like Yes in their like pop period.
Yeah, during like an 80s, early 90s at Yes. Yeah.
It's a nice departure for him.
Again, the album takes another hard left with a song which many, many Roth fans really love this song. This is an underrated song. And it's called Damn Good. It's an acoustic song. It's a ballad, but it's not a 80s cheeseball ballad that everybody did. This is sort of a bluesy, beautiful, acoustic, reflective ballad, which Dave does not get enough credit for. This song should be a classic. It was a single. It was the third single, and we'll get into the timing of when it was released and everything, but didn't have a video, and there is a video online that's actually fun that a fan made, if you want to check that out. But that wasn't Dave's video. You really like this song, right?
Yes. It is Vi trying very hard not to sound like Jimmy Page.
Right.
I mean, especially during that dun, 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 like,
Right.
So definitely trying very hard.
Yeah.
But it is one of the better songs on the album. In fact, I think it's one of Roth's best songs, period.
Right.
In his career.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed when Roth slows it down that he knocks it out of the park.
It's true.
And I think lyrically it matches the music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the longest song on the album. It's almost 6 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's a nice centerpiece of the album. It really is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think he released it as a single, and it didn't go anywhere, which is too bad.
No.
It's really a great song. Like, for the life of me, whenever he releases Best Of comps, this song isn't on it, and I don't know why.
It's unbelievable.
Because everybody I know loves this song.
Yeah.
Just like a true hidden gem in the David Lee Roth catalog.
Yeah, absolutely. And this song is clearly about his days in Van Halen, and it is kind of a little too early to reflect, I guess, because he's only out of the band 4 years, but at the same time, it's a really nice sentiment. And I tell you, great acoustic work by Vai, like you said, very Zeppelin-esque. My God. Again, nothing for Billy to do here.
Well, no, I kind of disagree with you there, because Bill plays fretless bass on this. And you could hear him do that. You can hear him play.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway.
So I'll give him that. He does
Okay.
chime